Yes, y'all! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership in Carrollton, Texas, it is DCTF Live, your mom's secret favorite podcast. My name is Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, a magazine that's been around since 1960, and TexasFootball.com, a website that's been around considerably shorter. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. I'm sitting here, sitting over there at his oaken desk is Max Thompson.
Is this oak?
I don't know. I assume every piece of wood is oak.
I guarantee yours isn't.
Yeah, no, this is oak.
Nah.
Yep.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Mm-hmm.
Nah.
Yeah.
You don't know.
What do you think your house is made of? Oak. Everything. I just assume that every tree is an oak tree.
Well, when you're...
I'm not a botanist.
I'm purely speculating here, but based on your characterization of me, if you're a member of the 1%, everything's made of rich mahogany.
No, that's not true.
That's
Everything here is oak.
No. No.
Today is Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016, episode 125. 125! That's Mike Karp's batting average as the Texas Ranger.
Who could forget?
That's a former Red
Sox great.
That is a former Red Sox great and a former Rangers spare. A little bit later, we will be joined by James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, breaking down some of the best cornerbacks in the class of 2016. Cornerbacks.
Corner.
Yes, as in secondary, not
in the defensive
quarterback
portion of the field.
Yes. So that's coming up here in just a little bit as my phone rings.
Is it a coach?
Yeah. I think that it's honestly. You want me to know? You want me to tell you who I think it is? I think it's Dave Hennigan and Denton Ryan. I could just answer the phone and just plug him in.
Do it. Go for it.
I'm not going to do that.
Coach
Hennigan will call you back. And in a moment, we're going to get into our matchup Monday, which is quite a doozy. It pits the 2008 Carthage Bulldogs against the 2007 Liberty Hill Panthers. I know Mike Craven was very excited to do this one because he's tired of, you called it the exchange rate.
Yeah, he's very, I think Mike, more than anyone, is taxed by the exchange rate through different decades.
Through different eras,
pitting a team from the 80s against a team from last year.
Yeah, when we were doing Big Sandy from 1973 against 2015 Canadian.
I struggle less with this, but I guess I understand.
Yeah, I do too. So we will get into that in just a moment. Yesterday, there was some big sports news in the world of sports.
Are you referring to Leicester?
I am. I'm referring to Leicester City. For those who don't know,
I'm guessing most of you don't.
Most of you probably don't, but Leicester City won or clinched the English Premier League championship last night, or yesterday rather. Well, last night over there, in what can only be described as purely European terms, because they clinched the championship by two other teams tying.
Yeah.
Is that not the most European kissing your sister result?
Right. Well, I think it's. I mean, our good mutual friend Jesse Spector made a good point yesterday on Twitter in that it's very American to think that that's a stupid way for a season to end, but also from the other perspective, it's kind of stupid that you play an entire season and are the best team in the league and can get eliminated on two fluky games.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying that. I struggle with the idea of the playoff. The playoffs, for those who don't know, is a very, very American idea.
Yes.
Nobody else does that.
And for the record, philosophically, I'm basically 50-50. I see merits to both.
Yeah, I do.
I'm okay with both.
I don't have a problem with either. I think that they both have drawbacks and they both have advantages. But the news yesterday that Leicester City had won the Premier League is on its face, you go, oh, okay, well, a soccer team in England won. I bet they're pretty good.
Yeah.
This is among the more amazing underdog stories ever. They were 5,000 to 1 underdogs to win the league from the outset.
I think the best way to describe it in our terms, things that are both familiar to you,
I've got a way,
and our audience, It would be like if Kansas or Iowa State won the Big 12.
I totally disagree.
You think that's even bigger than that?
I think it'd be like if Texas State won the national championship.
I wouldn't go that far.
Man, I would.
I wouldn't
because
go that far.
here's the thing: the way that I think about it is that Texas State, in theory, could win the national championship this year. In theory.
In theory.
But the system is so set up against them winning the national championship. Forget the fact that they have a new coach. Forget the fact that they are a recent upgrade to the FBS level.
Right.
Forget the fact that they play. Forget all that. Forget their merit as a team.
Sure.
The fact that they are in the Sun Belt
Yeah.
puts them in a very precarious position with regards to national championship contendership. It's the same thing over there. There's a reason that Leicester City's never won the top flight before.
Yeah.
And it's because they don't spend money.
Right.
And this is a league where the rich get richer. And if you make the comparison, Alabama is Manchester United. You know what I mean? Ohio State is Chelsea. You know, these are the rich. These are the 1%, if you will, of soccer. This is not only a team making history, but making history in a game that is set up to defeat them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
That's why I draw the Texas State comparison.
I think it's a little extreme because I still think the system's set up to make sure Kansas and Iowa State don't ever win the Big 12. They don't have the alumni dollars. They don't have the recruiting base.
See, but I think it's bigger. I mean, it's – I don't know. I think that you only need like Kansas almost fluked into a Big 12 title.
That's true.
Remember that in 07?
That's true.
They almost fluked into a Big 12 title.
Yeah.
I don't think Leicester City didn't fluke into this. It would take Texas State going unbeaten and winning the national championship. I think that's the best comparison. So, congratulations to all the Leicester City hipsters out there who
there aren't many of them.
There aren't many. Yeah, if you are all of a sudden
we brought that up yesterday.
Yeah.
Like if you were a bandwagon or not a bandwagon fan, but someone before the year, you're like, all right, I'm going to pick a team in the Premier League. I like Leicester City. Blue, the Foxes. It works. And then you win the title. You're like, they probably never win the title. And then they win the first year. You're just kind of like, probably can't even enjoy it.
No.
You're probably just like, this wasn't supposed to. I don't even know what I'm doing here.
Yeah, that's why I chose Queens Park Rangers, because I never have to worry about them winning a title.
You never have to worry about that.
Never once.
No.
We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We have a website. Max, let's get into matchup Monday.
Ooh.
On Tuesday, of course.
Yeah.
Last week, we had the 2010 Aledo team take on the 1985 Houston Yates team. And guess who won? 1985 Houston Yates.
I don't think that's terribly surprising.
I thought it was a coin flip.
Yeah. I didn't even think it was a coin flip. I think that Yates team had some of the best players to ever step foot.
If you're looking for NFL talent.
Field. Right. I mean, just the depth of talent was pretty insane. There are people who strongly believe that's the greatest team of all time.
So, by the way, we've only got this one and one more.
One more. We're going to do one more next week.
We're going to wrap up with 12 of them, but this is our Week 11 matchup.
And actually, Crave and I were having this discussion last night, so I'll just open it up to the forum. One of the teams is going to be 89 Permian.
Yeah.
Right. Close it out with a bang. But who do we have play then?
I got a couple ideas.
We've got a couple ideas, all from between 06 and 10. All 6A teams. So you can pretty much narrow.
Okay. I think
Craven and I
think
have
I know who you're leaning
two
towards.
different favorites to play them.
That will be next week. We'll lock it down with some mojo magic. But
right.
This one, Week 11, is two teams that played back-to-back years. 2007 Liberty Hill taking on 2008 Carthage.
Carthage, yes.
Let's start with 08 Carthage. This is an East Texas dynasty, and it's really due in large part to what Scott Surratt built. Scott Surratt, Linden Kildare grad.
Linden Kildare grad.
We found that out last week.
Yeah.
This was a team that in 07, after getting knocked out by Liberty Hill, they ran off 33 straight.
Right.
They ran off 33 straight, and they won 3 straight titles. And this, if you talk to folks, the 08 team, the first of those 3 straight championships, probably the best.
Yeah.
Probably the best.
Yeah.
And they did it in a way that was on the ground. And they did it with Dwight Smith. Dwight Smith, their running back, was incredible. 2,600 yards, 40 touchdowns. They could also throw the ball. Sedarius Blackshire
was awesome.
Was really good. They had a big, big, bruising offensive line. Scored 705 points as a team. They lost two. They lost their I believe their first two or two of their first three, which is funny. Right. Yeah. They started off like 1-2 with losses to Kilgore and Nacogdoches. Now Nacogdoches is bigger than them, but in Kilgore, I am not sure where they fell in that regard. But this was a team that the offense drove the ball because of their remarkable balance.
Right.
I think that the way that they were able to run the ball with Smith and they were able to throw the ball with Blackshire was really impressive. I think their defense was solid, if unspectacular.
Sure.
Guys like Kendall Thompson, Caleb Pope, Kyle Deaton, it was a solid group.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody would ever accuse them of being the most dominant defense that's ever walked the earth. I think they were a good team. I don't think they were amazing. Gave up 282 points in 16 games, which, if my math serves me correctly, 17.6 points per game. Solid, not spectacular.
Yeah,
we have seen better. We will see better. But when you've got a big bruising offense like that, and all you need to do is be a pretty good defense, and they were a pretty good defense.
Right.
Overall, this was what made this 2008 Carthage team special was what it was starting.
Mm-hmm.
This was the beginning of a run for Carthage that was pretty remarkable, and they were pretty much unquestionably the most unquestionably the kings of 3A, because they ran through everybody in the 3A level. In a lot of ways, my initial comparison to them for present day is if you go look at Bremond.
Sure.
That Bremond is, there are a couple teams that can hang with them, and Albany has given them a run in the title game the past couple of years. But to me, Bremond has been unquestionably the best team in their division in the past 2 years. That's just been them.
Yeah.
And they're going to enter this year, spoiler alert, they're going to enter this year pretty highly ranked and considered on the short list of teams to win the 2A Division II state championship. This Carthage team is kind of a precursor to that, I think, because they've got kind of a remarkable they don't have the kind of balance that this Carthage team has, but they've got that dude in Rashad Paul. But I look at Carthage, this 08 Carthage team, and that's what really stands out to me as the offensive balance. For Liberty Hill, we go to the 2007 Liberty Hill team. Man, if you know me, you know how happy it makes me when a team runs a really old school style of offense to perfection.
This was
those East Bernard, the Tice Lenina East Bernard team in 2012, maybe 2012, just made me so happy because they're running the slot T just perfection. Just with Liberty Hill and the wing T in this 07 team, this was peak Liberty Hill.
Yep.
And what I love about things like this is that, first of all, it requires a physical brand of football, and Liberty Hill was super physical.
Yeah.
The other thing about it is that the offense ain't complicated. In fact, in many respects, it is an extremely simple offense. You know what's coming, but it's so well designed and it's so well run that if everybody does their job, you can't stop it. Okay? They averaged nearly 500 yards of offense a game, 45 points a game. Dusty Gonzalez went over 2,200 yards. Doug Allman, Darren Allman, jeez.
Yeah, right.
Was over 2,000 himself. They had 6 guys who had at least 50 carries. This team was a machine. And I just love the way that offense operated out of the wing team. Now, much like Carthage, the defense was, I think, very similar. Coach Jerry Vance's squad, I think, was very similar. The defense was solid. I don't think anybody would ever accuse it of being the greatest defense that's ever walked the earth, but it was pretty solid. Guys like Cody Lattimore up front, this defense was pretty good enough to get the ball back to their offense, and when the offense got it, they knew what they were going to do. So, really, in this matchup, it comes down to what do you value more? Right. Do you value the well-oiled machine of Liberty Hill, or do you value the balance of Carthage? Mm-hmm. For me, the defenses to me are a wash. Mm-hmm. I think that the defenses are, the defenses pretty much cancel each other out. So you're left to look at the offenses.
Yeah.
And I think that the balance that the Carthage offense has gives it the slight advantage. Even though, the wing tee, when it's running, it is very, very hard to stop. And I'm not saying that Carthage is going to stop that with any sort of ease. But
no, I think we both agree this is a shootout.
But I do think that the ability to mix it up a bit, the ability to throw and run, gives Carthage to me the very slight edge.
Right.
I think it'll be a high scoring game. I think it'll get up into the 40s because both these teams could put points on the board. They could light up the scoreboard. But I would look at Carthage in this instance and give them the slightest edge in this one. I would take 08 Carthage over 07 Liberty Hill. I think you agreed with me.
Yeah, I went with Carthage. It's interesting. The last time I saw Liberty Hill play in person was a 06 48-44 overtime loss to Wimberley at Wimberley. That was peak Wimberley. That stretch that they were very, very good. Ended in a rainstorm in overtime. Pretty impressive game, but Wimberley won, and I think that game sort of stuck with me now. People, the counter-argument I think we saw online when we first posted this was, the 07 Liberty Hill crushed Carthage.
Sure.
And then the next year, Salina beat Liberty Hill, and Carthage crushed them. And I think not to take too much away from that 06 Liberty Hill team, in the same way that the 07 Carthage team wasn't yet peaking.
Yeah.
That 06 team wasn't yet peaking for Liberty Hill. So, but I think I just saw a balanced air attack and said, okay, it can be done.
They can do it both.
Someone can hang here.
That's what I
think.
Yeah. So I would my vote goes to 2008 Carthage, but my vote doesn't really matter. So what do you think? Go on to TexasFootball.com and vote in our matchup Monday, pitting 2008 Carthage against 2007 Liberty Hill. And then next week we'll close it out. We'll have one last matchup Monday, and then we got to figure out a way to kill some segments while we're trying to put together this magazine. I was up till 3 a.m. last night laying out high school pages.
That's very late.
It's very, very late. Very late. We are DCTF Live. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com. You can subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. We are on Twitter at DCTF. We're on Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. We're on Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, you can see our fine work at TexasFootball.com, including the aforementioned Matchup Monday. Going to be joined here in just a second by James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, talking about cornerbacks. The cornerback, I think, I'm a big believer that football is always evolving and that we are getting into a world where the hybrid is going to be king. But there is still a place in the world for the straight-up lockdown corner. And here to talk about a few of those in the 2017 class across the Lone Star State is the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. We're joined by James Lott. James, how are you?
What's up, guys? How's it going today?
We're doing pretty good. I want to ask you about something I just said about hybrid guys. I feel like, especially in the secondary, people are looking for – it used to be that you could be the kind of undersized but speedy corner. I know that everybody's kind of looking for that bigger corner. Are you seeing more and more of a blurring between the lines between safeties and corners?
Yeah, there is, because – today, with these wideouts being as big and strong and fast as they are, you have to have a kid that can match up with them and be able to get out there and lock them down and run with them. So that's why it's more of a shift to find these longer kids that are athletic, that can run and, cover these guys and shut these guys down on the perimeter.
Yeah, it used to be, for example, when you look at Dallas Bishop Dunn cornerback Chevin Calloway, it used to be that 5'10" would have been a monstrous corner. That would have been a huge guy out on the edge. Now it's pretty average, but this kid is something special.
He is special. I mean, he's been a start. He's 5'10", about 180. He's been a starter since his freshman season. The true lockdown corner, can flip his hips, can run with any receiver in the country. has great initial quicks, can lock up, like I said, and play man-to-man with your best receiver and just shut down that part of the field. Excellent recovery skills when he's beaten. Just a phenomenal player with excellent ball skills. 4-star kid, the 11th ranked defensive back or cornerback in the country. Just a special kid that is definitely my top guy by far of cornerbacks in this year's class.
And I want to ask you, because he does play for Bishop Dunn, a private school here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. On one hand, we kind of look at the private school ranks and we say, okay, well, he's not necessarily playing in the 6A level, the 5A level. But on the other hand, I look at the competition that he plays there at Bishop Dunn in that kind of top tier of TAPS, and I know for a fact that they've got big-time wide receivers out there, so it's not like he's going up against these scrubs.
Absolutely. And Bishop Dunn, as we know over the years, has had some of the top Division I talent every year, with 3 or 4 guys coming out of there every year that are Division I. But he's special no matter who he plays against. You cut the film on and you just see a guy that's faster, stronger, more physical, and electric than anybody on the field, no matter what or who he's playing against.
And then another place that's known for putting out some talent here in their Port Arthur Memorial, they've got another guy this year, Kerry Vincent, 5'11", 170, a big kid. One of the things that stands out to me is that here's a guy that everyone in the world has every reason to throw away from, and yet he still notched 5 interceptions last year. That's a pretty impressive stat there.
Absolutely. And he's another one that can go get it. 5'11", 170, like you said, 4.38 kid. Now, this one can go. I mean, he just recently won the Region 3 track meet. So he'll be going to state with the fastest time in the state in the 200. From what I hear, he ran 21.15. He also is going to state in the 4x1 100 meters. But when you watch him, what I like about him is not only is he great as a cornerback, as a lockdown guy, the kid is special as a punt returner and kick returner. He's a kid that's electric, that every time he touches the ball, he's got a chance to score, can play wide receiver, also plays a little bit of free safety, but he is definitely a lockdown corner at the next level. His dad played at A&M in the New Orleans Saints, so he's got great bloodlines, but another can't-miss prospect that's going to have a great future ahead of him.
Yeah, A&M fans probably know the name Kerry Vincent themselves, as he was a star receiver for the Aggies a while ago. When I look at Kerry Vincent, you mentioned his ability to contribute in special teams. When maybe guys when colleges are recruiting these kids, how much are they paying attention to that? How much are they paying attention to their ability to contribute on maybe another side of the ball like special teams?
Yeah, I think it's special. I think it's big because, say, for instance, you bring in a freshman kid that may not contribute necessarily as a receiver or as a defensive back, but he's a guy that can get on the field on special teams and be a difference maker. This kid's a difference maker, and you can see, I don't care where he goes, there's not going to be too many people, if you cut that film on and look at him, that can do what he's able to do as a punt returner, kick returner. Just a special guy with the ball in his hand.
We're talking with James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, here on DCTF Live. Get involved with the conversation at hashtag DCTF Live. James, one other guy that you sent us that we want to talk about, and you don't see a lot of 6'4" corners, but here's Miles Jones out of Magnolia West. I know he's kind of closer to that hybrid that we were talking about, kind of that safety cornerback. I think if you look at like a guy like Byron Jones that the Cowboys drafted last year, he kind of fits that mold, kind of a tweener. When you watch Miles Jones out of Magnolia West, what stands out to you?
And truthfully, 6'4", 175-pound, long kid, versatile. Like you said, he can play cornerback. He can play free safety. Truthfully, when I watch the film on him, he's an excellent tackler. I think he will progress, and I think he will develop and be a safety at the next level. a free safety. I think he's rangy. He's got excellent tackle skills. He's got solid feet and change of direction skills for a big kid. But I think his true future is going to be at the free safety level. I might be wrong, but definitely a kid that can contribute immediately with his athleticism, size, and speed and range. He also another kid that played a little bit of wide receiver, so another special kid.
And it seems to me that it's probably easier, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's probably easier to teach a corner how to play safety than a safety how to play corner. Is that right?
Absolutely, because getting out on that corner, that's a whole different deal out there. It's a little easy conversion to go from corner to free safety than free safety to corner. That corner takes a while to develop, and it takes special kids to play out there on the perimeter.
He is James Lott. He's the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at JLScouting. James, appreciate your time, and we'll do it again next week.
Thanks for having me, guys.
There he goes, James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football. 6'4". All right, Miles Jones, by the way, a Texas A&M commit right now, and the younger brother of Xavier Jones, the defensive end at Baylor. 6'4" corners, and we talk about it. When we go back to the wide receivers, we were talking like a Hezekiah Jones down there in the Houston area, who's just monster, who's this tall guy. How do you fight that? Well, you got to have tall corners. And to me, that's where I think when I look at guys like, and this is going to sound very crazy, I think the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, I think he came into the league 10 years too early.
Probably.
Because I think that what you're going to see is more and more of these hybrid guys who can play corner and safety, guys who can play defensive end and outside linebacker. I think you're starting to see that because offenses are getting so sophisticated and offenses are getting so versatile themselves that you got to have versatility on the defensive side. And by design, defenses are reactive. And offenses are proactive in the sense that offenses change something, defenses fix it, then offenses find something, defenses fix it. I think right now we're starting to get into that mold that you go look at the rise of guys like Rob Gronkowski, okay? These giant, massive tight ends, these guys who can run like wide receivers but are as big as tight ends. You've got to have guys who can match up with those. I think you're going to start to see those guys. You're going to start to see that kind of hybrid of guys. And I really think, in that same vein, when you look at guys, this is not necessarily the most popular thing in the world to say, but when you look at guys like Michael Vick, I think was about 10 years too early in the league. Because now if Michael Vick comes into the league, he's a little bit undersized, but at the same time, what they're doing is not special. Look at what Cam Newton's doing. And so I think that you're going to see more and more of these hybrid guys like Miles Jones, who are going to be more and more valuable to colleges and later at the pro level.
Yeah, I mean, and the versatility is the number one thing there because watching the clips of all these guys, the amount of ground they cover is staggering. Yeah. I mean, you sit there and you talked about, like you said, there's no incentive in the world to throw anywhere near Kerry Vincent. And yet he still finds ways to make interceptions. And it's simply because he's not in the ballpark when the ball is thrown, then he gets there. That dude's
got rocket launchers attached to his feet.
He's a
burner.
And then with Miles, he's so tall and his arms are so long that he's not in the zip code when the ball is thrown, but he gets there both through speed and length. So it's pretty amazing to watch how much of the field these guys can really occupy when they're not the biggest guys out there.
And when they're not, they can occupy that space without being in that space.
Right. And they're also doing it, we sit here and talk about the versatility. They could be safeties down the road. They're doing it from the corner position. Yeah. It's crazy.
Pretty crazy. Thank you to James Lott, the official recruiting analyst of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, for joining us. And thank you for spending part of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at texasfootball.com. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. And we will see you tomorrow on DCTF Live.